Now Tata is ready to launch the Nexon in the Indian markets, and there's a lot riding on its shoulders. Why? Well, it's got a completely redesigned exterior and a completely redesigned interior as well. For instance, you get a sliding coupe-like roofline, a very unorthodox rear side, and of course the aggressive frills of a compact crossover or a compact SUV, as you'd like to call it. Along with that, you get a whole new equipment package inside. You get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and a lot of other bells and whistles that excite the millennial, that is supposed to excite the millennial. How does it fare in terms of the technology package? How does it fare in terms of the drive? It's got two new engine variants as well. We are going to find out really soon. So Tata has improved its in-cabin experience by a large margin, and you get a new dash. It's the same steering wheel, but it's more refined. It feels better to hold. It's got these hand grips now, and along with that you get a very premium dash now. And this is the latest bit, the floating touchscreen display, 6.5 inches in diagonal width, and it gets Android Auto already with Apple CarPlay support coming soon. So what Tata is intending to do with the Nexon is to make up for all the gaps that it had in the Hexa. The Hexa was a large jump over the previous offerings that Tata had, and Tata's cars were never perceived as premium enough. But now with the Nexon, Tata wants to change all that. As you can see, these premium plastic inserts, much better in quality than before, and even the knobs and the button arrangement, button feedback, plastic quality, this nicely textured plastic, all of this feels really nice. It also gets two new engines, so when you're driving you get a 1.2 liter petrol Revotron and 1.5 liter diesel Revotorque, and what these engines provide is 110 brake horsepower. These engines are completely newly engineered, and what they provide is 110 brake horsepower, 170 Newton meters of torque in the petrol variant, and 260 Newton meters of torque in the diesel variant, both turbocharged. So pretty decent engines as well, and you get quite a nice response from Now when we talk about the Nexon, the first thing that we look at is this, the new infotainment display. It's a floating edge design. It's sort of like floating from the dashboard, so it looks more upmarket, it looks more premium, and it's bigger, of course, 6.5 inches of display. And the biggest point is that it falls in the line of sight of driving, so you don't really have to look down to view the system. Now the best part about this system again is this new interface. It feels more premium, it looks more upmarket. The display is the display resolution is 800 by 480 pixels with 140 dpi pixel density. Now Tata states that it has met all the regulations and requirements for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay to build this display. It's also a matte display, as you can see, so sunlight reflection is limited, and you can see all the details well in direct sunlight as well. Now what all does it provide? You get the time view over here, and the battery and connectivity indicator. This of course takes you home, and this would return from a certain menu. This accesses the settings, so from here you can access vehicle, audio, Bluetooth, and general settings, volume, or you can simply choose to show all. So here you get vehicle setup, so park assist, approach lamps you can choose to turn on or off. Audio setup, over here you get the typical equalizer view over here, and balance and fader. and of course the preset equalizers. One thing about the display is that it's quite responsive. As you can see, it does stutter a little bit, but in terms of the touch response, it's quite fluent. It's quite easy to operate. Bluetooth setup, once again, is pretty easy. You can simply go to pair new device or access your devices from paired devices. 4 devices can remain paired to this system at one time. You can go to phone setup and you can configure auto SMS reflection. You get an SMS message and it will be reflected onto this system, and you can choose how you want to be notified in terms of your messages. Volume setup, once again, you get speed sensing volume. You can choose individual volume, startup audio, SMS readout, voice command, phone audio, and gain control for aux input. So if you connect your device via aux, you can choose to control the gain for that device as well. Voice alerts, and the rest you get is a general setup. So you can choose date, time from here, or restore everything to factory settings. And software details, you get the version number over here, and over here is where you choose the modes. We'll get back to that a little later. This is what helps you keep track of your firmware. So as Tata would roll out your software updates, you would get to know from here if you are running your latest firmware or not. And the last over here is display setup. You can choose to deactivate the themes with drive modes. It gets 3 themes. For instance, when we're in sport mode, it's red.
City drive mode is activated.
In city, it's blue.
Economy drive mode is activated.
And in economy, it's green. So depending on the mode that you're driving, the color of course changes. And Android Auto also, you get to choose day mode and night mode, and auto mode of course depending on your preference. So that's all the settings done over there. You get all the options over here. You get standard FM AM radio controls, and voice commands, which activates the voice over here, and
Controlled.
phone controls, you access your phone from here. You get the call log for the connected device, and you get to access contacts or just access the dial pad from here also. That's how the phone settings work. So this is the quick help setting. This is where you can access all the information about how the firmware really works. You can get all the details about the system. And this is of course for USB inputs. You can plug in a USB drive and view photos or videos in HD resolution, and that only works when the car is static, but the USB audio is also enabled, so you can plug in a flash drive and play audio tracks from USB. And the last that we come to right now is Android Auto, and it's a familiar Android Auto interface which gets Google Maps over here, which is what we've always seen. You get back to the home screen, you get weather details, you get WhatsApp messages, and you get phone functions, and you get audio playback as well from Google Play Music. You can also choose to see the source and access your local playlists depending on what you're playing. And that's pretty much how the entire infotainment system works. Apple CarPlay is going to come to this system very soon, but it is not there yet. Over here is where you get the AC controls, so you can adjust the air conditioner and the airflow and the blower also from the infotainment screen, and you can choose your input source if you want to switch to FM from Bluetooth or USB or aux, whichever way you want to operate. You can simply do it on the go. It's all operable on the fly, and that's what makes this system so much better than the previous Connect Next system. If you connect your device via USB, you can also use Tata's own Connect Next suite of apps, but Tata is gradually moving on from that, which is clear with the addition of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And Tata is bringing its Connect Next suite of apps to iOS very soon. But until then, this upgraded system feels much more plush, feels more upmarket, and of course feels more functional. Now when it comes to the audio setup, you get 8 speakers made by Harman, and you get multiple ways of connecting to it. We've connected it via Bluetooth, so we'll simply tap on Bluetooth to access it, and It's pretty easy to operate really, and in terms of the volume, this is how it fares. So on overall terms, the audio is pretty decent. On native audio is a little flat without the equalizers. It sounds a little dull. The bass response is not that strong, but of course you can use the equalizers to tweak the settings, which you will need to if you want a more cohesive audio delivery from these 8 speakers. But the overall quality is not bad for its segment, and yeah, it does fairly well. Now you get more premium looking tachometer and the speedometer along with the typical MID that we've seen in the Tiago as well as the Hexa before, and also the Tigor. So nothing really different in the instrument cluster except for these chrome embellishments, which makes this instrument cluster look more premium. You can't operate them from the steering wheel, of course, so you have to go to this button and switch between your trip details, multi-trip, an odometer, distance to empty, and the time and the temperature, and that's it. And also, you also get an instant fuel economy update over here, which gives you a bar graph of sorts as you drive. So all of that is pretty decent, but it's not very graphical, but it of course gets the job done. Now the steering wheel is the same wheel unit that is retained from the Tiago and the Tigor, so it does feel a little small for an SUV, but it has been upgraded. The motor itself, the electric motor itself, has been upgraded. The steering wheel now feels more connected. It delivers more feedback as you drive. It feels more hefty, and of course the sort of these embellishments where you can hold them gives it a little more sporty appeal, although there's room for improvement. In terms of the steering mounted controls, you get audio source, so you can change the source on the go. You can also accept or reject phone calls, and control the volume from the steering wheel from these buttons. And to the right you only get a single voice control button, voice command activation or deactivation button. No cruise control as you'd see on the Hexa, but pretty simple, straightforward steering wheel, slightly improved with these embellishments, but we would have expected a bigger steering wheel, so to say. Now the entire central console has been a little reconfigured to make it look more premium. You get a better quality of plastic and chrome over here. The AC vents have been shifted downward, and you get a fine texture over here, which looks and feels more upmarket. So does this plastic, which is finished really nicely in this grey tone over here, and the black plastics of course feel much more premium than before. The new button configuration has this volume button over here, which you can tap to switch on or switch off, and a new array of buttons to control the new infotainment system. This of course is the home button. Then you get a configurable favorites button, and of course rewind and fast forward buttons, or previous and next buttons, as you would use these two as. And then this is the phone button, which you can use to access your call log or contacts, and a return button. So you can operate all of the settings of the instrument cluster, all of the settings of the infotainment system from these physical buttons, and you can toggle also with this toggle over here. Moving downward, you get the automatic climate control setup, you get the AC button, you get the eco mode for the AC over here, defogger control, air circulation control, and air direction flow control. You can also choose to put it on auto mode, which sort of activates the automatic climate control, and you can also switch it off from here. This is the temperature control, and the left acts as the blower control. So these are the buttons that are present in the AC control. It's fairly straightforward. No graphic information over here. All the graphics are to the display, so you have to rely on the display to get the temperature and blower settings over here. Moving further downward, you get a parking button over here. So this, what it does is activate the rear parking camera, as you can see, and the rear parking camera is now dynamic, so you get dynamic guide rails, of course, along with the histogramic view. So that sort of helps. You can switch on the camera anytime you want when you're parking or when you want to check what is exactly behind you. And you also get a warning notification saying park brake has been engaged, please reverse carefully, or of course the statutory notification of checking surroundings for safety. It also shows you exactly where the obstacle is, which is a very neat addition from Tata. And you can see that the guide rails of course change and give you a fairly precise guide of how your vehicle is gonna travel when you turn the car. Now that goes over there, and then you get the light buttons and central locking and boot release button all mounted to the on the central console, so which sort of really helps. Further down over here you get the 12-volt power socket along with the aux and the USB port, so pretty easily accessible, not difficult at all. And going below that is the new gearbox with a lift release, so this works in putting the car on reverse parking mode of course. And below that you get the circular dial for the drive modes. You get city, eco and sport, so you can just turn
Sport
the dial.
drive mode is activated. City drive mode is activated. Economy drive mode is activated.
So that's how the drive modes work over here. More premium inserts include the storage button, which the storage space which is concealed by the sliding door. It's taken from more expensive cars, and of course it does look more upmarket, and that's exactly what Tata is aiming for, to give this car a more premium look, to give this car a more premium appeal. And looking at the entire dash and all the features that are available along with the floating display is what Tata's main focus is with the Nexon. And like Tata hopes, we really found it to be much more premium than before, and it should appeal much more to the customer than previous Tata vehicles. The Nexon also comes with electronically folding mirrors, so you can simply fold the mirrors with one tap and open them up also on one tap. Well, yeah, there you go. And it's also easy to control when you're inside the car, so that sort of adds to the utility of the vehicle. Well, now that I'm in the back seat, it's really comfortable inside. It's quite plush as well. You get these premium fabric inserts and a nice contrast plastic handle. Along with that, the most impressive bit is the massive headroom. You sit really comfortably. You get a lot of shoulder room as well. You get an armrest with cup holders, private AC vents with blower control, and good leg room as well with decent thigh support. I'm pretty tall and I'm seating quite comfortably. Along with that, you get these coat hangers, so a lot of nitty-gritties over there, and an 8-speaker audio system inside, which is built by Harman. And all of these combined along with the contrast color themes, and you get a 12-volt power socket over here as well, and all of these combined makes this interior a quite impressive place to be in. The Tata Nexon heralds a new beginning for Tata in terms of design, in terms of features, in terms of refinement. It brings a whole lot of new refinement, a whole lot of new features, and a bold, exciting design like the ones you see right here. Along with that, you get peppy colors, new engines like the 1.2 Revotron petrol and the 1.5 Revotorque diesel. It does get a lot more equipment like 31 storage spaces along with dedicated umbrella holders, cup holders, a more plush interior design, and the likes of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, focusing on the utility of the car. This is a winning combination that Tata has in its hands, and when it launches this festive season, we expect it to be quite popular. We also expect Tata to price its cars really wisely, and that is something that Tata has done before already. So the Tata Nexon is a pretty hip choice, and we expect a lot out of it.